You're at your desk, trying to impress your friends on Discord. Or maybe just yourself, because let's be honest, you're a loner.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are, bud. And what do you have? A keyboard that screams mediocre at best. Enter the RK M75, a compact 75% keyboard that promises to look amazing, sound even better, and all for under $80. But is it the real deal, or is it just the Wish.com version of a premium board? Let's go more in depth to find out. Alright, so first things first is the unboxing. You get your typical budget keyboard starter pack, a USB-C cable, keycap and switch puller, some extra switches in case you get too confident swapping them out, a dust cover because, yeah, your desk is probably gross, and the keyboard itself, pretty standard. But here's where things get spicy. There are two different versions of this keyboard. This one here, the new version, is $80, and there is an old version for around $65 if you're on a little bit more of a budget. I'll break down what's different between the two throughout the video and which one's worth your cash or birthday money if you're broke like some people. Now let's talk design. This thing has two USB-C ports on the back. One's for plugging it into your device and the other is a USB pass-through. Bonus points for the magnetic USB dongle holder on the back as well. Flipping it over, you do get 4 rubber feet as well as 2 angled feet so you can change the different angle of your keyboard. The colorway here is blue and white. You have a blue bottom and a white top to the case. It is all made out of plastic though on both versions, and it's not the highest quality. You can definitely tell it looks like a budget board, and I would not confuse this as a premium board if you were to hand it to me. It's like the keyboard version of an IKEA chair. It's functional, looks kind of stylish, but it's not fooling anybody and it's not premium. Keycaps, well, that kind of depends, as this new version has cherry profile PBT keycaps and the older version has ABS OEM profile keycaps. The ABS keycaps will shine a little bit faster, but honestly you should be fine. I've never had any ABS keycaps really wear out that quick, but just keep in mind they are slightly worse than this new version. They also have sub-legends that are side printed and some indicator lights on the right side for caps lock, scroll lock, and page lock. It has dual wireless modes, 2.4 GHz for low latency gaming, and Bluetooth 5.0 for when you're feeling a little bit lazy and don't want to plug in that USB dongle. Although let's be honest, you're just gonna leave it in there most of the time, so 2.4 GHz is probably the way to go for most people. Turning the keyboard on itself is a bit dramatic, as there is no on or off button anywhere on this keyboard, so you might be asking, how do I turn it on? I'll show you. You just have to hold and press the volume knob in the top right for about 3 seconds and it will turn on. That's it. And then you do the same to turn it off. It's pretty easy. You do have to read the user manual for that, but of course you don't because you watched this video. Speaking of the knob, it does have like a satisfying clicky feel to it when you turn it, making it feel like you're a DJ at a studio. Meanwhile, all you're going to be using it for is turning down the Spotify ads or muting it quickly for when someone comes in while you're watching videos. Special videos. There is also a screen in the bottom right, which is kind of surprising. It doesn't do as much as some other keyboards with screens like the Ajaz AK820 Pro, which is also a budget 75% keyboard, but it does show you the different connectivity modes you're in, either 2.4 GHz or Bluetooth, and it does show battery connection, which is nice because it shows you exactly how long you have before you're about to lose connection mid-game and then die, and then you can blame it on your keyboard. You can't do that on this keyboard. And of course there is RGB lighting. This new version has south-facing RGB, and then the older version has north-facing RGB. I actually prefer north-facing RGB because most keycaps are made for north-facing RGB, but that's like the easiest way to tell if you have the old version or the new version. If you have south-facing RGB, you got the new version, and if you have north-facing RGB, you have the old version. It is pretty easy to change the RGB. All you have to do is press function and backslash to change the different effects. Function and the less than or greater than symbol to change the different colors. There is no turn off RGB button, which is kind of new. They don't really like buttons on this keyboard, I guess. A lot of people do not like using RGB, especially like if you're using it for work and somebody has just like a flashing keyboard. I'd be like, holy crap, that guy is a loser. So that's why I use no RGB if I'm going to use it anywhere in a public setting. Also, RK does have a software. Never really used it that much, but I'm pretty sure you can set macros and change the RGB on that as well. Now, let's get to the heart of this thing, the switches. All of the switches that come with these two keyboards, the old and the new one, are RK branded. Mine came with RK red switches, which are smooth and linear. They're also pre-lubed out of the box, so you don't have to spend hours playing keyboard surgeon just to make them sound decent. There are a few other switch options. You have brown, which are tactile, fast silver, which are like the red switches, but they're better for gaming. They also have a few other different colors that I haven't tested called Viridian, I think, and pale green. Inside the board, you have case foam for sound dampening, and this keyboard is gasket mounted to give it a nice soft feel when typing. If you're typing on this thing, it does have a nice stocky sound, and it is pretty quiet, so if you're going to be using it in public settings and you go out and just use your keyboard, I guess, I don't know what you would be doing, just in the library with your keyboard. Oh, I'm typing with my keyboard. I mean, yeah, you could do that, but it's pretty quiet, so if you're like in the library, the librarian won't tell you to shut the F up. And for gaming, it's great, especially if you get the red or the fast silver switches. The low latency of this keyboard is good for gaming, nothing to complain about. It's not like the fastest keyboard, it's not like a Wooting or something like that, but it is pretty good. So I mean, if you lose in game, it's kind of not the keyboard's fault, but I mean, between me and you, we can blame the keyboard still. So should you buy this keyboard? Let's go through the pros first. It's got an affordable price for what it offers, hot swappable and can use a bunch of different other switches, wireless that actually works, a nice compact design, and it's got some nice bonus features like the screen and the nice volume knob. The cons are it's fully made out of plastic, like not even a single piece of metal on this thing. It's actually kind of impressive how they use 0 pieces of metal on it to make it feel as cheap as possible, but it does weigh a little bit still, but it definitely doesn't feel very premium. And if you get the older version, the ABS keycaps are not the best, but for the new version, the keycaps are a lot better. At $80 for the new version, it is kind of hard to beat the value here. But if you're on a really tight budget, the $65 older version is still a great choice. That being said, there are competitors out there like the RK M75 that has a lot of the same features as this keyboard and sounds just as good, if not better, for only $60. And for a bit more money at $100, you have the Yunzi AL66, which I just reviewed, which is a 65% keyboard, so a little bit more compact, but it has a fully metal case, which is insane for only $100. So it really depends what you want, a budget keyboard or a little bit more flair. So is the RK M75 worth it? I feel like there is some better options out there, but this keyboard is still really good, and if you like the look of this keyboard, I would go with it. If not, I would check out some other keyboards like the RK F75, or you could check out this video here, which I go through all of my favorite 75% keyboards of this year.